Well, hello everybody, it's Dave Black here. Right now I'm standing just beside the viewing platform at Glenashdale Falls, maybe 20 yards away, and it's dusk. So although I can see where I'm going, I can't see very well. I'm not quite blind yet, but most things are indistinct, and I've come up here deliberately this time because my plan is to have a look at the falls in the dark, really just appreciate the noise of them, and then run along the forestry track to Giant's Graves, and then to where I can get the view of Waiting Bay, but which time it should be pitch black. That's what I'm expecting. But right now I've stopped even just 20 yards from this platform because this little path goes up through the forestry, and a lot of it's been cleared lately because it gets harvested and regrows and things. And so I am standing looking at a view right down the path, down to Waiting Bay, where I can see just 2 or 3 lights poking above the trees in the distance. And that's about 1.25 miles from here, maybe 1.5 miles. And what I can see clearly though is the sea stretching all the way from Waiting Bay to the mainland, and I can already see lots of lights in the mainland, lit up lovely, and quite a few of the lights have got very high red lights above them, and I can see that from here, so it's very clear. I can see maybe towns and villages, and then I don't know, things that are very high with red lights on the top of them, much higher than the villages that they're situated in. Very clear. And the nice thing about these lights is I can see much more of them from high up than you can from at sea level. At sea level you're only getting a wee glimpse. And I'll just start my way up these steps here to Glenashdale. You're only getting a wee glimpse because, of course, the earth isn't flat. So my apologies to anybody who is a flat earther listening. But that's the reason why I can hardly see any lights from the shore, but I can see lots of them from high up because I can see over the curve of the earth. Okay, I'm on the end of the platform now. Always makes me a little bit nervous because it's massively high. I'll just point the camera at the falls and you can just listen to them for a wee second. There we go. What a noise. It's a funny thing being nervous in this platform, because if it's going to ever give way, it's almost certainly not at this precise second, but it's just the height of it. You know, what am I? 150 feet up or something? It's the highest waterfall in the whole island, and I'm just above the top of it on this platform with nothing below me at all, apart from wooden planks and then some arms protruding out from the cliff way behind me at a 45-degree angle to arrive under my feet. And so I'm relying on other things supporting me here, which I don't like. It makes me nervous. Anyway, one more go at the noise of the falls here. I can make out the falls quite clearly, although everything's dark around me. The actual water's white, so it stands out very clearly from everything else. It's like snow, like a snowy river. It's very white when everything else is really black. Surprising that it's such a contrast when there's no light. It's like it's got its own light in the water. Very bright, almost luminous, and also completely full. You can see that the water's going from side to side in the waterfall there, so We've had so much rain lately, so that's not a surprise. But anyway, so I'm back off the viewing platform now, and it's already so dark that I've got my torch on, I have to concentrate to make sure I don't go the wrong direction. So I'm going to start running now. I'm running up a very small path that takes me above the viewing platform, over a little bridge here. Here's some more water. A little stony path, and it comes to a junction just here, and if I carry on in this path I can cross over the top of Glenashdale Falls, and there's a picnic bench and you can sit down, it's nice, but I'm not going to do that. Here I am at the junction. Just show you, I'm right above the falls now. One more go at this. There we go. You can see I'm quite close, or here at least. And now I'm taking the little path between the Glenashdale path and the Giant's Graves path up to the forestry. And this little detour will only take me about 30 seconds to run. It's a very small, short path, and it does have a signpost there saying Giant's Graves on it, so easy to find. Here we go, just about there. We'll get up this little slope. It's quite steep and it's a little bit windier up here, but not too bad. Okay, I'm on the main forestry path. It's a really great path. It's been surfaced well, and it's almost got a sandy surface on it. No potholes up here. So it's a lovely surface to run on. I'm actually tempted to put the torch away. In fact, I think I will. There we go. That's it off. I'll chance it. Although I can't see much, I can kind of make out the path. I can see where it goes. There's enough light for that. I can't make out if there was big holes or obstacles on it, but that's okay, because I know it's pretty much smooth. So this is about maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes. I'm not running very to get to Giant's Graves. I'm not running very fast for two reasons. One, I'm talking, so it's not very easy to run and talk at the same time, especially if you're running fast. You've just got to gasp for air, so I'm going quite slowly. But the other one is it's just that it's dark, and it makes me a bit more nervous, strangely. Just to explain how I feel up here, I know I'm the only one up here. I absolutely will be. No one else will be here, and that's a nice thing, but also puts you a little bit more on alert, because although nothing's going to happen, I'm a very confident person. I can run fast. I'm pretty able-bodied. I'm not really scared of anybody, and there's nothing else dangerous, on Arran, apart from possibly people or yourself. So I'm very confident, but because it's dark, you've got to take account of one or two other factors that aren't quite in your control. Like if I fall over, I'm the only one up here, like I said, so I've got to make sure I can get myself back down. And also, it's just the fact that it is dark, so you can't see very much. And I've got a torch off, like I said, but even with the torch on, shapes can be indistinct. Sometimes it's easier with a torch off if there's a little bit of light, because the torch can create shadows and create objects and things and make them more indistinct sometimes. So it's a difficult one. Either way, with the torch on and the torch off, you've got to be more careful when you're running. You just haven't got the same chance to think about where you're putting your next 2 or 3 footsteps, which is what you're doing the whole time you're running. It's not just the next step, it's the next few. But it's okay, I'm doing fine. So this is my regular run route. I came for a holiday to Whiting Bay in 1984. I've been in Arran ever since, most of the time in Whiting Bay, and it's about 4 miles from the centre of Whiting Bay, which is where I started. I ran up here and round Glenashdale, round Giant's Graves and back to where I started from. 4 miles, maybe 4.5, and that's a nice distance. It's a big hill. I'm still going uphill just now, by the way, but that's not daunting because you just slow down. It's quite easy really, go slower, you get there. It's the hare and the tortoise, isn't it? It doesn't really matter what speed you do. It's going to take some effort to get there, just slow down. You'll burn the same energy, you'll reach the same destination. So, what have I got around me here? Right now I've got forestry on both sides. I'm on this track that's big enough for 44-ton forestry lorries to drive up and down, carrying their timber down to get taken off to the mainland. So it's a massive big wide road, really. A pleasure for me, very lucky. Forestry's got its advantages. And on the right, it's just a big hill, so it's just trees going off into the distance. Coming up to a corner here. Put a torch on. Just went dark there for a second. Funny wee corner. Trees closed in on both sides, and I just couldn't quite see as much. And the same, so that's what's happening on the left of me. I've got some trees on both sides now. I did have a partial view. That's disappeared. And it's just me, the path and the trees on both sides now. Yeah. And if you believe in ghosts or ghouls or anything like that, this would probably be the time that you would think about them a little bit, because you're in a spooky kind of place, there's shadows everywhere, there's nothing but you and the trees and the odd noise. I heard a kind of slight screeching noise back there, but I'm sure it was a bird. If you're hearing this, it was. And it just feels slightly eerie at times being in the dark on your own, but it's also liberating, because you know, here's a little viewpoint here on the left, you know that you're very fortunate to be able, there's a rabbit up there, a rabbit right in front of me, yeah, about 10 feet, maybe 6 feet away now, a rabbit just looking at me. Bounced into the undergrowth there at the side now. Let's have a look. Is it still there? No, it's gone. I can't see it now. There you go. So you're not alone altogether. I've stopped at this point because there's a passing place in the forestry path on the left here, and there's a decent view. I say decent. It would be an outstanding view if I was going anywhere else apart from where I'm going, where I know the view is going to be better than this. But I can see some of Whiting Bay and all of Holy Isle from here, but I'm not going to dwell on it because this isn't actually where I was meant to be stopping. But it's nice to see a little rabbit in the dark, so they're all still up in the forestry as well, the rabbits. But anyway, so I feel lucky to be able to do this, and also a little bit strange because other people most times don't do this. They're probably having their dinner, maybe watching EastEnders or Strictly Come Dancing or something. I don't tend to watch those things, or really watch telly at all very much. So this is my thing. I just love nature and the freedom of it. Right, I'm just cresting the top of a wee bit of path here. The view's opening out spectacularly now. It's incredible actually. So, and this isn't even the view I came for, but the trees are growing on my left, so they're starting to obscure the panoramic view that I have just slightly. The odd trees just poking up a little bit, but they haven't done it yet. So if I just move a few steps further forward, now I've got a clear view. So the track goes on in front of me, On my right is the trees and a hill. Above me, completely clear sky and all the stars. In front of me is the darkness, the darkest sky. Behind me is the lightest sky where the sun's gone down. But in front of me, there's a plane flying across as well. And just slightly to the right, above the trees, is the moon emerging from behind a cloud, and a cloudless sky. And just as I'm speaking, so when I started saying that, it was just light from behind a cloud. And now already I can see a quarter of the moon, really bright, like almost as bright as you'd imagine the sun. And it's lit up this track. I've got half the moon now, so it's coming out quite quickly. It's still quite windy, so the clouds have been moving quickly. Got 3/4 of a moon now. Looks like a full moon as well. That is spooky. I had to think about that when I came up. My goodness. It's a full moon. And I didn't know that. It's a perfectly clear full moon lighting up my track. Okay, so those people who live in street lit areas maybe have not experienced this. I've experienced this many times, but only on an odd occasion, but I've been here so long. And it lights up everything so well, you can literally see where you're going. It's silver daylight. I'm going to start running again because I'll just stand here watching it the whole time. It's silver daylight, so I've got this amazing light in front of me now. I haven't got the torch on. I can see the path for quite a while in front of me. I can see clearly. And the reason I have always known that the moon can light your way, because when I was young, when I lived in Whiting Bay, sometimes I used to go to Glenashdale, drift in and have a few drinks, on a Saturday night. And you'd get out the pub and that was it, you'd just be out. I'm going to have to make my way home. And it's 4 miles to Whiting Bay. So, in my semi-drunken stupor, possibly fully drunken stupor, I would just follow the road back. I always made it. A lot of people did that. It's not really, or it wasn't really that uncommon in those days. I don't know if people do it so much now. There's not so many pubs and things. So if it was dark, if it wasn't a good moon, you'd have to follow the white lines in the road, and that would see you home. Just don't lose the white lines or you're in trouble. But on a moonlit night, you can see just about as clearly as if it was the sun. It's amazing. And that's what I've got right now. So I'm running up this track, going up the last small slope before I can see Giant's Graves. And I've got this moon in front of me, lighting everything up. Perfect moon. I'm going to stop again. And behind me is the track. I see the sun going down. On the left, so that'll be, let's say, at 8 o'clock from where I'm facing forwards, is Whiting Bay and Holy Isle. And at 9 o'clock is the beginning of the mainland, and all the lights going across the mainland almost in a solid line. A mixture of orange and white lights with the odd red and green one just occasionally, but a mixture of orange and white predominantly. And although there are towns there, because I'm so high up, they kind of join together almost in a continuous line, nearly, with just a very odd small gap, whereas the other way around, if you're on the shore, it's mostly not lit with the odd light. And interestingly, I'll start running again. In Whiting Bay, we quite recently, only a few years ago, got all the lights replaced. We had the orange ones, and now we've got the white ones, which give out a more kind of natural light. They're not as bright as the orange ones were, but they're much more pleasant. The mainland's got a mixture, so maybe they're replacing some of them, but we're pretty much entirely white lights in Arran. I've come around the corner now, I'm starting to run downhill, and the moon is maybe at 10 o'clock from where I'm running down this hill now, because I've gone around a slight curve to the right, and the light is bouncing off the sea. I can see all the way across to the mainland with the moonlit sky, and it's quite spectacular. All that light coming off the sea, in the sky and on the sea, reflecting. Right, here we are. I'm at my junction. I've got a signpost here. If I just face the post, if I carry on up this path, it goes to High Kildonan, back the way Glenashdale Falls. I'm expecting it to stay. Yes, Giant's Graves, the way I'm going. Towards the moon now is where I'm going. I'm going downhill, and it's going to be downhill for me all the way now. That's me crested the top. So I'm running down a much smaller path now, about 6 foot wide, quite stony, and difficult to run on. Got to concentrate, and I'm just about to turn off this. There we go, little junction, onto a tiny wee path. And this one is about maybe 30 metres long, and then I'll be standing right in amongst the stones at Giant's Graves. So I'll just carry on up this little path here. So the mainland's on my right now, and the stones are just on my left. And just stop. Oh, it's difficult to see. There we go. Oh, that's heather. Massive. I was wondering what that massive object on my right was. Heather. Very, very big, like 6 foot high heather bushes or something. Okay, I'm going up to the stones now. There are 2 sets of stones at Giant's Graves. And it's a Neolithic cairns. Neolithic cairns, 2 of them. And they're from 5000 BC roughly. And of course there were cairns, so they're used to bury people. And they were excavated in 1902, so they're quite disturbed. You know, they were disturbed at that point, and a lot of artefacts were dug out. But they're still quite clearly burial cairns. Now I'm standing right at the main one. Panoramic view around me. All the way round from Holy Isle, right the way round to the view that Kildonan and the far side of the island would have, because it's going right round the corner of the south of Arran there, and the moon shining right off the sea to my right. I'll just step forward a little bit. Here's the main cairn. I can't say it doesn't make me a little bit edgy being here. It does. There's no reason for it. I know that 5000 BC is what, 7,000 years ago? So unimaginable amounts of time have gone past, and oh, another rabbit there just gone past me. Again, about 6 foot away. Oh, it's right beside me. 4 foot. Oh, it just ran off. There's some rabbits up here. So that distracted me. And the bogeyman's not going to come out of these stones, and nothing's going to happen, but it's just a little bit of reverence, I suppose, because you know you're at, you know, where people were buried and things, and you're going back such a long time. So there are, say, two clusters of stones, and they were put here because they've got this spectacular view, of course. The path continues on, which I'm going to run down it a little bit further, through some smaller trees that have been planted, so that little bit of the view is obscured, but most of it is clear. And if you ever go on Facebook, I've actually posted a picture today on Whiting Bay Memories, and also my own page, Dave Black page, of what the Giant's Graves used to look like when they had the old steep path up here, and it was completely surrounded by trees. So you were hemmed in 360 degrees by massive trees. You didn't even know where you were, to be honest. It was quite a place, and so it's transformed it, having the trees taken down. But it could be better or worse depending on how you see it. I've got the view, one of the best views in the whole island, and right on my doorstep, which I didn't have before. I remember the first time I came up here and saw this view, I just couldn't believe it, because of all these years, maybe 30 years I'd been here, where we didn't have any view whatsoever, nothing, not an inkling of a view, just trees. and about 300 steps to get up to them. So this is quite different. I'm just walking away from the Giant's Graves now. I'm walking on this bit. I would run it actually, I normally do, but this bit on the track, just what I was talking about, you've got to be careful. There's a little bit of clay on this little bit of path here, I just know it, and it can be a bit slippy, so just if you're running, not if you're walking. Right, that's me past it now. Okay, start running again. I'm being very lazy today. So run along this little path and go to the main viewpoint. I'll just tell you one more thing when I'm running here. I've actually got 2 torches because the other thing is, being on your own, being in the dark, oh, big puddle there, I need this torch to get back down. I've been up here before, well probably don't tonight because of the moon, but I've been up here before when there was no moon and it was cloudy. You literally can't see the hand in front of your face, nothing. Zero, absolutely zero. Perfect pitch black, just shut your eyes and that's what it's like. And so if your torch goes out, you've got no way down. At any speed, you just don't even know which direction the path goes. So I worked it out, I'd be on my hands and knees crawling, feeling the path and hoping that I can continue along it. And if you're in the winter time and you're in lightweight gear, which I've got, you've been in desperate trouble. So you've got to wear a bit more. And also, in my case, I've got a torch in each pocket. I've got one in my hand, I've got a spare in my other pocket. I'm not going to get caught out with that. So I've stopped running here. Because this is me. It's the perfect place here. So I've gone down a slight downhill from Giant's Graves. This is an exposed wee bit of the path because there are no trees here. They haven't grown back yet. They will do eventually, they're starting to. The trees are maybe 10, 15 foot high around here, but the slope goes down so quickly that they're hardly obscuring the view, but they're just starting to. They're just starting to nick into the view now. So if you're coming up here, you want to come up here very soon. Okay, what have I got in front of me here? I'm turning the torch off. I'm standing facing the mainland. The lights are amazing on the mainland and very, very clear. The stars above me, so many are out. I suppose the moon being so bright is in a way preventing me from seeing just as many stars as if you had a pitch black night and no moon. But the moon's lovely. This is a lovely place to be. On my left the path carries on down. It's going to be very steep and I'll have to be careful. And as I'm standing here, so that's at 9 o'clock the path goes down. 3 o'clock was the path I just came down. Facing me 12 o'clock on the mainland. And about 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock is Whiting Bay. The whole of Whiting Bay displayed in front of me. I can make out individual houses. I can see 3 cars driving along. There's one just driving past Eden Lodge just now. I can make out those kind of buildings, see all the lights in Eden Lodge. I can see right up from Montour's Terrace, Eden Lodge, the centre. Beautiful little lights